Hi guys, this is the Air from Lord Hair. A full Swiss lace hairpiece. Light to medium light density. It arrived within a week and I've never tried this color before. This is called number 4 ash or medium dark brown ash. Usually I have medium dark brown, number 4. But this is medium dark. This is number 4 ash. So that's what it looks like on top. And that's what it looks like underneath. So this is Swiss lace, the finest lace material on the market. Because of how fine it is, you can see my finger, see the netting. Those netting holes don't allow for medium or heavier densities. I usually have medium density, but this is going to be medium light to light. And I'm not sure if you can actually tell next to my wet hair, but it's going to be hard. My hair actually does fluctuate in color. I've got red sideburns, grey temples, and my hair just gets darker as I go up. So it'll be interesting to see if this color is perfect for me. Of course, to order a custom piece takes 8 weeks or more. So you want to get something off the shelf. I can tell you right now, for the last 7 years I've been holding hair pieces, and this is very lightweight, which is because it's medium light density. And it's also the lace material is very thin, really thin material, okay? So I've got to take my stencil now and cut out 2 hair pieces from this because I only need a front partial. I don't need to wear it all the way over, right? She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so I've just cut out 2 hair pieces for myself based on my own stencil shape. The next step is to wet this in preparation for putting it on. Shake off the excess water. Then I will brush it on my knee with a hairbrush. And then hang it on the towel rack. Now I have to choose which glue to use. I have several glues here. These are called white glues because they go on white and dry clear. These are all Ghost Bond, different versions. Ghost Bond Supreme, Ghost Bond XL, and Ghost Bond full stop. They're white glues. I really never use them. Then there's silicone glue. This is Walker Hold Extreme Hold. It dries like hardened plastic. And it doesn't re-stick after the hairpiece is lifted. You can't just stick it back down because it dries solid like plastic and doesn't maintain its stickiness. This is Devlin Green. Quite good. It's thin and easy to use. It's not very stringy like mozzarella, and it's got a low viscosity as compared to the glue I've been using for years, Walker Tape Ultra Hold. These are both acrylic glues. The problem with acrylic glues, even though I use them all the time with poly and with medium density French lace, with Swiss lace, they're gonna shine right through. So I am tempted, after all these years of not doing it, to try using a white glue, a water-based glue. Now with these, you can't have a shower for 24 hours and you've got to put on, I need glasses to read that, can you read that for me? 3 to 4 coats maybe. with a few seconds to dry between each coat. So it's a lot more effort to put this glue on. It doesn't come with a brush. You basically just got to squirt some onto your finger and just rub it around. But I have a feeling that would be less shiny. The problem is it balls up into little white balls. And when you lift it, it doesn't seem to stick as well as acrylic. Acrylic's more, it's more expected behavior. So I'm going to put on Walker Tape Ultra Hold, even though it could be shiny, but I might just have to dab it with my finger or something to take away the shine. I'll put that on now. Okay, so I've applied the glue and it's down to about there. The hairpiece will come down to the top nub of my forehead, just the top of the top nub. And after I've got it into position, attached to this part of the glue, I'll lift up the front and then I will figure out where it's going to land and glue the rest of that area. I could just guess, but I'm probably going to use the tape marking method, which is basically to apply tape to the area where it's going to land and then just paint the glue on freely. In the same way you would paint something around a house by using paint tape, painter's tape. All right, so once I've sprayed some alcohol onto this glue, I've got 30 seconds to put the hairpiece on before I'll have to put more alcohol, otherwise it'll evaporate. So I'm going to anchor the temples after I've tried to make sure the top is in position. It'll be interesting to see if this color is correct for me. Obviously it's going to be different while this is dry and my other hair is wet. It's just got such a low density. It's really lightweight, really. I feel like I need a bit more water on this so I can see through the hairs. This reverse mirror actually just lets me see if I've got things lined up nicely on top. It's just a shower mirror taped onto a microphone stand. Hairband. And straight away I can tell you just from experience, this is very low density, medium light density they call it. So after I've brushed this back, I'll lift it up the front and then figure out where the tape is going to need to be applied. We'll start with the middle here. So now I'm just going to glue everywhere between there and there. Of course with poly, this is not necessary. You can just glue directly onto poly, but you cannot glue directly onto lace. And this tape is not ideal because I'm seeing it sort of falling in through the gaps. But this will definitely make less mess. And hopefully it will be close enough to perfect. Yeah, it's probably better if you glue upwards from the tape itself, then you can't accidentally get glued down through those gaps. After I finish this, it'll take 15 minutes to dry, and then I'll come back and just press it down and then cut and style my hair. And hopefully this color looks like the best color that matches my hair that I've ever had. I've tried medium brown, then I tried medium dark brown, and now this is really the third stock piece color. Medium dark brown isn't too bad for me, but there is a bit of a tone difference that can be seen in sunlight. Today the sky is overcast. Plus I've got a bathroom light as well. And even though there's some glue in my hairs on the edges there and there, there's no need to try to get that out until the glue is dried. But you do have to make sure you have enough glue on those corner anchor points at your temples, because any corners on a hairpiece are the things that lift the most easily. In fact, the whole front hairline, especially if you're the sort of person who runs your fingers through your hair, it wants to lift. So how long will this last? The hairpiece itself will last 1 month. I will need to do front hairline maintenance every 2 or 3 days with lace. With poly it's about once every 4 days, but with lace it's about once every 3 days. You'll think you need to do it after you get out of the shower because it bloats, the glue bloats out after you get out of the shower. But I'd say just wait for an hour or two until that bloating settles down. Yeah. I'm not sure about the physics of how glue weakens with water, but I think it's more likely to weaken with steam and hotter water rather than swimming, which is cold water. And I've never seen anyone have a problem with swimming with a hairpiece. But showers are different. I mean, when I bought my watch, they said it's waterproof, but not guaranteed if you have a shower with it, because the steam can creep in through the gaps. So that could be what's happening with the shower as well. Also, you're heating your head up to a higher temperature than usual, which would therefore melt the glue and make it runnier and potentially lose its integrity. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that to dry and I'll be back and I'll pull this tape off, stick that down, cut my hair and style it. Okay, so I've let that dry now. I'm just going to peel off this tape. It's quite sweaty where the tape's been. It's interesting to see that as a poly wearer. I'm usually a poly wearer. Poly thin skin. This is lace. This is breathable. Poly is not breathable. So that's really sweaty. It's interesting how much sweat in just that short amount of time. So with poly, this is always exact and accurate because you apply the glue directly to the base itself. With lace, that's not possible. So in this particular hairpiece, I'm going to have to clean up some of that glue along there. In this particular hairpiece, I can see that there are very highly visible black dots all the way along because the knots have not been bleached properly on this stock hairpiece. Which means the front hairline does not look realistic. Yeah, I'm really upset about that. So this is the Air by Lord Hair, and the knots look like they're not bleached at all. Have a look. Can you see that? In the past, I have actually bleached a hairpiece while it was on my head, but I got pretty badly burned, chemical burned. I later suspected though at the end that it was because I had rubbed hard with some baby wipes and I had chafed my hair. Just wondering why that didn't reach, why that was such a bad estimate. This part here kind of needs to come off a bit as well. So I'm going to have to lift and cut that. There we go, I'm gonna have to bleach it myself. I really thought I wouldn't have had to bleach this. This is about $10 plus $5 delivery for one of these bleach packs, plus all the effort and the cleanup and the work involved, and the burning potential injury is about to happen. I've set my kitchen timer to 40 minutes. This will be applied to my head and to that one over there. Okay. The first little bit might be a little bit unmixed because it never really shakes up properly at the tip, although that looks all right. Okay, so I'm just going to push my hair back. I do like the feeling of the hairs if you want a compliment. I feel like this hair color might really be very close, potentially accurate compared to medium dark brown. So that's a good thing to know. Yeah, so the objective is not to make the hairs blonde. I'm just trying to bleach the knots. But with other hair pieces, I bleach the front anyway, at the front edge, which isn't always accurate. It's hit and miss. I mean, this might go too blonde. Here's an old problem I haven't encountered since last time I wore lace. I've glued my hairs to my actual forehead. That simply doesn't happen with poly. I'll just put some on the other hairpiece. Please don't be cracked. Brand new phone. See the blue tack? It wears out. He cracked. My baby, my precious baby. That's okay for now. All right. I'll see you in about 40 minutes. I bleached this other one over here. As for this bottle here, I pretty much have to throw 3/4 of that away because this is a, you know, unexpected thing. Anyway, hopefully, Lord Hair, you're watching this video and you're thinking, what were we thinking? Why did we send this guy an unbleached, knotted lace hairpiece, which he's going to show the world? Okay, it's only been 25 minutes, but I feel I better test to see if it's gone lighter. I don't want the front section to just be blonde, you know what I mean? I just wanted to try to do what the company was supposed to do before they sent it to me. Hard to tell. No, that's definitely not good enough. You know, you're not supposed to wet your hair for about 24 hours. And look, the density is so low on this hairpiece that you can see the unbleached knots all the way through, all the way back to here and everything. But there's a fine balance between bleaching the hairs and just bleaching those knots. Yeah, so it's all very annoying that I have to do this. Look, now tell me that is the sort of density that you want on your head when you buy a hairpiece. This is called medium light. This is the heaviest duty density you can get with Swiss lace. That's why I recommend French lace, not Swiss lace, because then you can get thicker density. You might think it's going to look more realistic, but if those knots are not bleached, it's completely unusable. Now, I don't see any real lightning going on here. I will add some more because it's only 25 minutes. I need more bench space. All right. Now I can't just bleach the entire hairpiece all the way through just to get to the knots, because then I'll be bleaching the hair blonde. So I should not have to be doing this. It's completely unacceptable. I'll be back in 15 minutes or so. Okay, this is starting to get pretty painful now. I'm going to stick my head in the shower and rinse this stuff off. Yeah, let's hope it's not too blonde. Let's hope it's not hair dye that's like clothing dye that they've used to make this hairpiece. Because if it is, then bleach will never have any effect. Peroxide won't have any effect. You'd need special type of clothing bleach to do that. And peroxide doesn't work with clothing apparently, for some reason. I'm gonna rinse this off. This will be a good hairpiece when I'm finished with it, even if I have to brush it forward. This was not what was in the brochure. So the glue's gone a little bit white. I wonder if that's temporary. But as you know, I used the tape marking method and I glued too far down. But I can tell you this, those knots are still dead ants on my forehead. Still black. It's hard to really tell if there's any blonding going on at the front section there. Yeah, it's not my first preference at all to have medium light density. I've got to be careful not to dig my fingernails into my tender skin at this point. In my experience, glue may be white when it's soaked in water or, well, bleach, but I think it just loses its whiteness over time. It is easy to sort of peel off glue when it's wet though, so I might as well try to get some of this off. It's way too low all along there. Yeah, I was really expecting to do almost a sales pitch type review, because I thought, what could possibly be wrong with this? It's just Swiss lace. It's supposed to be the most believable front hairline you can possibly get. But I don't know if you can see, I don't know if the lighting's good enough for you. Through my camera screen, even though it's an iPhone 11, I love the new phone quality, the camera quality, I cannot see any of what I'm showing you, but I know that on a big screen, because the screen at the moment is like this big, on a big screen you can see that there are black dots that anybody with eyes who is looking at you will easily be able to tell. There's a whole row of black dots all the way along the front. Yeah, so for the next month or so, I've got to, however long I choose to wear this for, I'll have to sort of brush it forward. If your hair is short enough, the front sort of gets covered automatically. All right, let's just give myself a haircut. Let's hope the glue de-whitens over time, goes clear. There'll still be bits of glue to pick up from the front. That's my fault. That's not their piece's fault, that's my fault. All right, so brush forward. Level 1. That's really low density, I don't know if you can tell. My natural hair. I just got inquiry for the phone. In my ad, it says iPhone XR, cracked screen. He was just about to come over to pick it up or look at it. I said, you know it's got a cracked screen? He said, no, it says it's good condition in the ad. I said, no, not my ad. My ad says cracked screen in the title. So I saved myself having to answer the door and him having to drive all the way over from wherever he's at. So that's just down to the top of my eyebrows, this haircut. See how it just sort of lands where you want it to? So this hair has really good control. If you have really long hair, like normally I go down to like the bottom of my eyes with the hair, in that situation, because the hair is so low density, it would be clearly looking like you know, your hair's kind of sparse. So if your hair's thinning or low density, you shouldn't really have long hair. Doesn't look right. Freaking grays. All right, so I'm gonna have to figure out a way to do my hair. That's dry, that's wet or damp, you know, so this is nearly run out. This is paste from Chemist Warehouse. I wasn't going to use this. I was going to use the nice new one for this video, for this nice new hairpiece. But because I've said so much about the hairpiece, that makes me think I can't really even say this title is a review of the Lord Hair's Air. I'll have to name it something else, and then secretly it's an actual review. Because I do not think Lord Hair will want this video anywhere near their website. But I really do hope that they watch it and learn. You see how my forehead's turning red there? They're chemical burns. It will go redder. And last time a big scab appeared about there, along there, and a bigger one there. Last time it took about a week and a half to go away. That's what I have to do to deal with them not doing their job. I don't think I can make it till 4 in the morning. I'll have to take some sleeping tablets and try to sleep for an hour or so. Although sleeping tablets mean that I won't wake up to the alarm or a phone call or anything. I can't just lie in bed being tired. I won't sleep. I've only been awake for 15 hours and 36 minutes. Most people are awake about 16 hours a day. I usually stay awake for 3 days at a time, or usually 2 days, like 48 hours. It's pretty typical. 30 to 48 hours. There's no day or night pattern for me at all. It's just I look at the sky and then at the clock on the wall, and it might be say 7, and I don't know if it's 7 in the evening or 7 in the morning. I don't know. 5, 6, and 7 are a bit hard to tell. So I guess I wake up quite often at 6 o'clock in the evening. Pretty standard. Well, this does fall and move in a really good way. It's a great hairpiece. The density works in your favor when you're brushing it. And this does not have the problem of those awful lines that V-loops give you, right? So I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but I can definitely see it in real life. And that bleach has totally messed up this glue as well. And I was picking away at that glue there too. So, because of its extremely low profile, it must be really thin, this netting, this lace, it can sit really nicely along your front hairline. For that reason, Swiss lace may be the best choice, but if it's dark hair, the knots must be bleached. So I'm in for some sunburny type pain, or just burn type pain, because I've been burned. So yeah, for the hairpiece hairs and control of brushing it and everything, and being able to go in any direction, it sort of stays where you want, I give it 10 out of 10. But I deduct 9 points for the unbleached knots. Because if it has unbleached knots, it's unwearable. It looks like doll's hair. For the sake of making you aware of what this is going to look like in real life, the way other people will see me with this hair, I'll put some clothes on and I'll let the hair dry, okay? That will give it a chance for the glue to stop being a bit white and make the hair dry and not as sort of separated, okay? So I'll come back, I'll wear a shirt or something, and then you'll be able to see that this is what the hair looks like when it's nice. Also, it'll give me a chance to check that the ash medium dark brown is a better match for my hair color. If it is, that'll be the color I order from now on, which means this wasn't completely a waste of my time. And it definitely looks better than the one I had on from before, which actually had an Auschwitz tag that I cut out, and then it moved the whole hairpiece back up to here, and I had to stretch the whole poly down, and then it was just, I had to just rip it in half and put it in the bin. That was in the last video. All right, I'll be back. I'll let this dry and I'll watch some election results. This would look a lot better if they were not unbleached knots. There's still that bit I have to re-glue down. In broad sunlight, and in most other light as well, this is gonna fail. I'm just wondering if when I cut the hairpiece, I left some exposed bits at the front with no hairs coming out of it. That can sometimes exaggerate the effect. I'm just gonna try and see if I can cut a little bit of this. Problem is you can see in, because the density is so low, you can see the dots and everything anyway through the hairs, all the way through. Now I bleached it for 45 minutes. I'm just trying to compare the colors here. Ash with my hair. I have got product in it, so this could be a little bit the wrong color, but it does seem about right. I'm gonna have to do something to bring this lower to cover this out and just mess it up a bit or something. So the hairpiece is actually hidden. Yeah, I don't know if this actually matches my natural hair color completely. Well, as you can see here, I've got grays happening here, which is really annoying. Orange there. Might have to start dyeing all of that. It's a pity because I would really love to not have to worry about that hairline. That's how long my natural hairs are back here. On the whole, the hairpiece really grips in nice to the forehead. I don't see any shine coming from the glue just yet. Like I said, I was worried about the shine from the glue, but there's no shine coming through at the moment. This is a lipstick applicator. I'm going to do this. Place this on the table. I'm going to take this lipstick applicator. And ever so delicately, try to make it land nice without glue the forehead. Trump's decided that he's gonna sue the country because he hasn't won. At this point in history, when I'm watching, there are 4 states that haven't finished counting their votes yet. But the mail-in ballots have massively turned the tables on the results. But it's taking days to count them. I feel that sticky tape fell, didn't it? That looks too low there. Like, why isn't that up there? If you're going to do the tape marking method, don't use tape like this. Use something like medical tape. That would be much better. It's supposed to be stuck to skin. I should just invest in some medical tape. That's bad for the environment. I'm going to have to throw this out now. Where do I put it? Now see, I have to waste one of these just for that. So I'm going to come back after this dries, see if that can stick back down in a good spot. That all looks like it's lifting too much all around over there as well. I just don't know if I can glue that small an amount. Can you see how small that lift is? It's approximately 1 millimeter all the way along the front. It was... I'll try again. Right. So even this is nowhere near fine enough for the amount of distance I'm talking about here. And it's all going to remain sticky now. It's barely better than a brush. Looks like the redness is dissipating. I think I took the bleach off before I got seriously burned. Yeah, it's a massive shame about these unbleached knots. I'll come back after it's dry. Just been watching some analysis about this election on CNN. Earlier, I was watching Fox News. They're very different channels. All right. They're saying on CNN, Trump will not concede defeat. In all likelihood, he will force Biden to claim victory without first conceding, which is part of the tradition of sportsmanship and saying, we tried our hardest, we did our best, but we tried our hardest, we did our best, but in the end, I have to submit to the will of the American people. God bless this country. God bless America. I'm not sure this color match is quite right as well. This is like, if I'm going to choose colors from the rainbow to describe the hair difference in color between medium dark brown and ash medium dark brown, this one's more green and the other one's more orange, maybe. I mean, can you, like, if you looked at a bunch of different versions of brown, would you be able to throw in a rainbow color there and say, let's mix a bit of blue in there and let's see what kind of brown that makes? Well, that's basically what I'm seeing. Slightly greener, maybe. This is the other one. Still damp. Does that look like the same color to you? Or do the shadows inside the hair, or maybe the moisture in the hair, change its color? So I can't have that. It's got to go straight down. The only way to make that happen is to wet it again. Why am I wetting the rest of my hair? So it's uniformly wet. So I wish I could just do that. If By the way, that gluing it seems pretty accurate. Even along there, it doesn't seem to be too messy at the moment. Oh. Okay, I said I'll do something to make this hair good. I cannot fix that. I didn't bleach it long enough, or it's clothing dye, one of those two. I was scared it was going to get very blonde if I left it too much longer. Maybe I should have left it longer. So I mean, look at that little splotch there. See that area, that just little area there? That has no blackhead unbleached knots. Along here we can see it all, and through there. At a glance, you can see it. You can tell straight away, looking at it, that it's dotted all along the forehead. I can anyway. And I know anyone else could as well. I don't know, I can't see it on this screen, that's why I keep saying, I don't know if you can tell, but on the big screen you should be able to see it. It's gonna have to dry something like that. And they're my natural hairs. The density's too low to really cover it over properly. God, it's so hard to do this hair. I don't know why. I would love to just walk around like this tonight. I would love to just have such a great hairline. And I'll tell you what, the streamline factor of Swiss lace, and we're talking about the lace, the base material here, it emerges so well from the forehead. Now that I've glued that bit down with the lipstick applicator, I mean, I just started lifting it then, that's bad. But it's got such a streamlined appearance to it. It's just such a pity that they didn't bleach the knots. 1 out of 10, I said, because of that. I had to put myself through physical harm to try to rectify the fucking problem they gave to me. I just really hope that the next few $100 worth of custom pieces that are going to take, I don't know, God knows, months before they arrive. I ordered them in June. It's now November. Still could be months away. It's the COVID problem, obviously. So I can't blame any companies for that. Yeah. The density is just too low to be able to. So I'd still say go with French lace, not Swiss lace, if you have medium density hair. Aside from that, I'm feeling like lace isn't as shiny. Lace doesn't let the glue shine through as bad as I remember. But then again, I'm not in bright sunlight and my head isn't hot from the Sydney sun. I used to live in Sydney. It was very humid, very hot, very sunny every single day. Never overcast, really. God just basically blew his nose on us and then just left. Here, he's always just got a runny nose. So, if I was more tanned, if I was darker, if I was black, obviously you wouldn't see that. But I'm pale. They have to be bleached for me. Otherwise it looks like fucking doll's hair. It looks like you're wearing a hairpiece. I don't want that. What, lopsided, is that what you're saying? Yeah, that's a bit lower, isn't it? I was hoping it would just all come out in the mix like usual. I'm just gonna let it dry like this. Isn't there something I could put over there? Spray tan or something that would just blend the whole lot and... No, because you could have a shower if you put on spray tan. It's gotta be on for 4 hours. Let me see. No, I can't wear it like this. Oh, fuck. I'm just going to spray this in my hair. It has absolutely no hold. It's leave-in conditioner, but it smells really nice. Aromatherapy. I don't know where to find that in nature. Probably in a botanical garden somewhere. It smells so good. Yeah, right, there you go. I want to get a head start in editing this. I don't know if I'm able to actually rectify this problem because the density is so thin that covering it over makes it look like there's a lot of thinning going on and it sort of just wants to stay back. Maybe that's because I'm brushing it back. All right. Even though it looks bad while wet, I'll try brushing it forward so that it dries facing this direction potentially. Not a good hairstyle. Let's see how it dries and then I might have some more control. It's still quite damp. I'm just wondering if I should cut it shorter. It's really... because I can't have that exposed, right? And I feel like if you're gonna do this sort of the curtain thing, it kind of needs to be a bit longer than this. That might do. It's a bit sensible. Maybe I need a different top to go with his hair. Looks a bit like a hairpiece at the moment. Well, it's nearly 7 p.m. now, as you can tell by the daylight saving sunshine coming through that window. So I've got to call my friend and see if he's in Melbourne. I'm just going to look like this today. So that's what it looks like. I feel like I should probably put some product in it though. Such a fucking shame. It needs some volume, doesn't it? See, it looks better messy than it does parted to the side. I've got to say, Swiss lace and this density would probably be pretty damn good if the knots were properly bleached. So I'd say this is top quality, but they just didn't bleach it, and they could have. It says on the website they bleached the front only. Well, this is the front. Either this is the front or that bit there is the front, because I cut this from the very front section of the hairpiece. How far into the front? I don't know. They weren't expecting me to apply the hairpiece with the netting attached, were they? Because there's a border of netting that went around the entire perimeter of the hairpiece. Anyway, this is a brush forward look. I can put hairspray in it so it'll stay like that. Probably too much, I don't know. This stuff's called perfectly undone. I think that means you can frizzle it and it won't cause any of that dust. So I think this is the best I can do with this hairpiece, given that it's not okay to show the front hairline, because the front hairline has unbleached knots. Well, there it is. I'll get a nice shirt or something. Okay, so this is the traditional casual wear of fat men everywhere. The t-shirt, but the shirt to hide the fat. Loose, because if I do it up, the buttons will be pulling apart. Shirt, t-shirt, overshirt, sleeves rolled up, because once you put it in the dryer, the sleeves should be made to here when they're sewing it, because they know that as soon as it goes in the dryer, it'll come back, and land right about there. A good shirt probably just covers over the thumb, you know, but shirts are made to finish there. That's not even the best look. you want it to sort of finish there a bit longer, right? So when you bend your elbow, it still, comes to there, and then it looks better, right? So if they sell you a shirt that's just to there, then you're going to put it in the dryer, it's going to come to there, like this one, and all my shirts. Because I don't know where to buy shirts like that, like the one I just described. They should wash them in advance before they sell them. Wash them and dry them, like 20 times. Then it'll be the right size. And if they cut them out and then trying to sell it like that, it's coming up to here on you, then you go, no. So that's my thought. Anyway, this is The Air by Lord Hair. Okay, so for 5 full days, this is the 6th day. I filmed that last part on the 7th of November. It's now the 13th of November, 2020. I've had this hairpiece on. Looking in at it right now, I can see still black dots, right? There's 1 millimeter lifting going off around here. And there's some pretty major lifting going on along here and there. So I'll fix that now, but all around this back joint here, the perimeter, it's so much better than poly. You really do want lace around the perimeter. It is so much better. The front hairline, it's exhausting to try to use the tape marking method to make lace land exactly on where you've put glue. Poly is massively superior in that way. So once again, I say the best combination would be if you could afford to just keep getting custom hair pieces that are designed for your exact stencil. If you could get poly at the front and then lace at the back, so that the front hairline, which is the most important part for facing people, that would be poly with all nose to spine and bleached at the front V-lips going that way. Then you can just glue exactly onto the front area and just push it down. It would be exact, right? The glue would have no problems lining up because you've glued directly onto the edge of the poly. The problem is it's a bit difficult to not get a bit of glue in the hairs. Just be careful, but still that's easier and better because all along here, glue is going to stick to the lace as well. So you're better off having poly at the front. Now, in my review of this hairpiece, The Air by Lord Hair, I have shown you a cutout from an arbitrary place inside the hairpiece. So, as far as I understand it, they do bleach the knots, but just along the front, which is unacceptable. The knots should be bleached all the way through, because especially with lower densities like this one, this is medium light density, you can see the unbleached knots all the way through into the hair, right? With medium density, it would be hard to see into the spaces between hairs, especially when it's dry. When it's wet, you can see a lot more, obviously. The other thing is, the hair has sort of got a natural direction that it's brushed from the factory. I don't know how it's tied in that it is brushed in one direction like that. But you should, if you're cutting partials like I do, try to choose the direction that it's going to flow forwards, because you can't trust that the knots are going to be bleached and that the glue isn't going to shine to show off a bad front hairline. The front hairline, for all of us, should be just like a rarity to be showing that off, because you can never really trust it. It's not growing out of your scalp directly. It is coming out of a net or from plastic. So it's a pity though, because I think having a brush back look looks sort of fresher and cleaner. And I'm acknowledging more and more that I am balding back here a lot more. So I might have to get a full topper, which is going to cost a lot more. And if that becomes the situation, I'll probably be getting poly front with lace through the rest of the hairpiece. And then a lot of these problems that I face will be replaced by the problem of finding the money to buy all those hairpieces, because I won't be getting 2 hairpieces per product, per unit. The other important thing that I've come to realize is that using tape like this, for the tape marking method, that stuff doesn't stick to your hair very well. So my mum used to be a nurse, and she gave me this and this. I'll show you how these two work right now. So this is called transport. I guess that allows the skin to breathe a little bit. It's also perforated, both vertically and horizontally. So you can tear it that way. See how it's a straight line? This is medical applications. And it also tears off that way, straight lines, which is very useful. Placing that on the forehead, imagine gluing down into that. You can still see some folds happening, not as much as with that other glue. Like, this is just paper sticky tape. See how, because the skin is not a great, see, it wants to slip around because my head's got some sweat on it. Not very much, but this is already better. So I'm going to compare this one to this one. This one is called micropore. So this is transport and this is micropore. Okay, so this is paper, but very thin. So it's like masking tape, but softer. I've never seen tape not come off for no good reason. Oh, there we go. All right. It's quite sticky too. All right. Okay, now this one, micropore, really is the best of the 3. I've just stuck it down to sweat and everything, right? And it's just like a straight line. There's no folding or anything. I would massively recommend this tape. Still comes off without breaking, which is good, over all the other ones. I didn't know my mum was going to give me this tape, so I've accidentally ordered some transport, which is going to be shipped. But what I should have ordered is micropore. This is the best tape marking tape. Just find it on eBay. It's really unfortunate that you've got to do all this just to, when you're using lace, because you can't glue directly onto that lace. You've got to mark the forehead. So like I said, this is the 6th day of wearing this. As for the number 4 ash, the medium dark brown ash color that I'm wearing, it's not an exact match for my hair. I don't know if you can tell in this lighting. Lighting is massively important when you're trying to figure out how close colors are to each other. It's really hard to get it accurate too. So even now that looks too high. That's another reason that tape, it has to be good enough that it won't slip. Because if it slips down, you'll have glue on your forehead after you're finished. If it's too far up, you won't glue up high enough. So it needs to be accurate, but this is hard to do. Tape marking is difficult. Now there is a solution where you can use tape on the underside of the hair, but I'm talking about double-sided tape that's sold by hair supplying companies. It's really not anywhere close to being as good as adhesive. After a while you go, that'll do, right? Which is what I'm doing right now. So it won't be accurate. But this tape marking method is still better than guessing. Especially since every time you fail, it's going to cost you another 15 minutes of work. And you might think, oh, well then just do it in general and then clean up any excess glue. But cleaning the glue up is pretty hard too. So for this little experiment, I'm going to use Delwyn Green. You really can't get any glue on that lace. Oh, I just dripped it. It's really quite runny compared to Wicker Tape Ultra Hold. So, and that's good. It shows that it's new and it hasn't coagulated. It's still got maximum effectiveness. You can see little bits of hair, of my own natural hair, that I've actually accidentally bleached over there as well. It's important to do this tape marking method because it allows you to have maximum thickness at the very front, which is a place you might be reluctant to give enough glue. So when I rip this tape off in 15 minutes, it'll be a nice clean line. When I say 15 minutes, I mean when it dries. I might go and get carried away with doing something else and then come back after half an hour or something. And it's also good that it's white, you can actually see very clearly. Once again, that is called micropore. If you're a lace wearer, go and buy some of this right now. By 3M is the company name. Right, and then I'll style my hair and show you what it's like after 6 days. These little ones here, this little lifting, it's along the front area. I don't want to have to deal with it. I'm already starting to deal with it. Fuck. I probably really, sensibly, I should have just peeled back the entire front section and done it all again, completely new. I am gonna have to do this now. Lace just wants to hold on to that glue, doesn't it? Yeah, it's really hard to clean lace. Like I say, you want poly at the front. But back here at the perimeter, really you want lace. So poly, thin skin, blends better with skin. Lace blends better with hair. So that's why the front should be poly, thin skin, and the back should be lace. Okay. I should just peel all this back, shouldn't I? Make sure there's no exposed base at the front. I'm not sure if I showed any other video, but I replaced the blue tack that was on the wall behind this phone, holding it on, after it fell and bloody crashed into the sink. My new phone. It's the iPhone 11, by the way. I replaced that blue tack with new blue tack, and it seems to be holding a lot better now. In fact, failed blue tack, because in America, which is where I was when my that's where I bought my iPhone XR, the one I'm trying to sell. I bought that in Los Angeles, and I was riding my scooter. I was filming with they didn't have blue tack in America. They've got some shit that's just like a no-name brand or something. Anyway, I'd never heard of it. It was white. It was useless. I just thought it would work like blue tack. I glued it on the front of the electric scooter and filmed while I rode through the streets of Hollywood and everything. But it didn't hold, and it fell off onto the road while I was riding, and then I drove over it. And I just lived with it like that, because I'd only owned it for less than a week. I probably should have just gone out and bought Apple Care, but I'm not sure if they care about cracked screens and stuff. So the price has come down on the screen repair from, it was about $265 6 months ago to fix that screen. Now it's about $150. So to sell it, I've realized no one's even calling me to buy it, except they're giving me stupid offers, really low. So I'll spend the $150, and then I'll sell it with a good screen. Otherwise, no one's ever going to show up, and it'll just depreciate more and more, because now iPhone 12 has come out. By the way, well done Biden for winning in America, by the way. I'm very happy. I mean, I was happy to have Trump for a while as some entertainment, but now China's going to take over the world because there was no good leadership. And yeah, lots of Americans have died because there was so much inaction against coronavirus. In Australia, we've got it down to 0. In America, they're getting 120,000 new cases a day. It's spreading throughout Europe. And winter's there now. We're now approaching summer, and now for the first time lockdown, as of about 3 days ago in Melbourne, we're now allowed to leave Melbourne. Before that, since July, it's now November. So it's July, August, September, October, and then half of November. That's 4.5 months of not being able to leave Melbourne. Like we're in jail. And we weren't even allowed to leave our house after 8 p.m. and then they relaxed that to 9 p.m. until 5 a.m. every night. And lots of companies have gone out of business. Bars and restaurants and everything, shops were closed to the public for the last 5 months. And they just reopened them. Still limits on how many people can go inside a bar or something, or inside a store. But I'm so happy we've got some restrictions lifted. I'll let this dry. I'll keep editing the first half of this entire video from a week ago. And then I'll try and do something with this to make it look good. Okay, let's see. Not quite all the way to the edge. Yeah, tape marking is too hard. Which is why I had a thought to go back to using, since I'm going to be wearing bloody lace for the foreseeable future. I might go and use the spray tanning method, the tan marking method. Still some lifting going on just there because it wasn't glued down properly. See, I don't know if you actually got a proper... I'm touching the screen now so I can hopefully zoom in, because this camera is like my other one. It doesn't really want to zoom onto my face instead of just focusing on the wall behind me. A little bit of lifting going on there. Still not quite right. Using that lipstick applicator didn't really seem to help me with the accuracy. Using the fat brush from the Orca Tape Ultra Hold is wildly inaccurate. So hopefully the smaller brush from the Dublin Green, if I just wipe off all the excess from the edge of the brush, maybe I can just use this brush. Just really try hard not to get glue all over the place. But you can see that it's not glued down accurately anywhere along there either. There's simply no way to really get the glue accurate with lace. The poly front has to be poly front. And then you don't have to worry about this unbleached knots along here either, because there just won't be any. It'll just be V-loops. But obviously the V-loops all look very obvious if it's dark, because they come like the very tip of it looks like that coming, and there are lines. You've really got to bleach the front of the hairpiece with poly. And given you can't get any accuracy when you apply the glue with lace, that fails as well. So poly for the front hairline, it's the only way. I'm gonna wait for this to dry again. Then I'll spray some of this along the top of my forehead. Enough that even after a shower, I'll be able to see. It's gonna look dark when I spray it on. So maybe I'll wait until I've done my hair and then I'll show you. Although I need it pulled back to spray it. At any rate, I'll do that. So next time I have to apply glue, the tan line will definitely give me an accurate way to do this instead of having to use this all the time. Because tape marking's too hard. Whereas if it was just a tanned line, I could just glue carefully directly into that line, and I know the hair has to land there too. I just went away for a while and I left my phone blue tacked to the mirror, and there was no problem. I didn't hear that crashing sound of the phone falling. So basically, just like with hair glue, the blue tack's internal glues are a lot stronger now that they're new and haven't been exposed to the heat of the household and everything like that. I'm very comfortable at this temperature, 21.9 degrees, 22 degrees, 50% humidity. Maybe 22 degrees is my favorite temperature. It's a little bit not warm, but if I moved around a little bit, I would probably, yeah, so I didn't re-glue that. Tape marking method is just not dead on accurate, is it? Did I re-glue that bit? I re-glued that bit only, didn't I? So stick that down now. Real problem with the unbleached knots here. I'm really going to try to zoom in, but I don't know if this phone actually is changing focus. Okay, I'm going to tell you when I'm clicking on that shower head, and I'll tell you when I'm clicking on. So I'm using the touch screen to try to choose what to focus on. It just seems to want to focus on the back wall. I'll click on the shower, now I'll click on my forehead. Just want you to see. If it's blurry, you can't tell, but that's really unsightly. I'm pretty sure that the front of the hairpiece must have been here, because hairpieces by default are brushed from the factory, heading towards the forehead for a brush forward look. And this tends to want to be going that way. I should have spun the whole thing around and worn it that way, given that I don't want to show this unbleached, these unbleached knots, because they look atrocious. So potentially, if it was facing that way, I wouldn't be complaining about the unbleached knots. I'd be saying this is fantastic. Because Lord Hair only bleaches the front of their, it's fucking stupid, of their hairpieces. So for people like me who wear partials, I just cut it out, make a leaf shape, get 2 of them out of a hairpiece, and just put it on. So you would think that's got to be better than the horizontal V-loops you get with the back end of poly, which are atrocious. So this is color number 4, Ash. And this is what it looks like when it's not on my head. So it's medium light density, color number 4, Ash. And it's Swiss lace. Okay, this is the one that's not on my head. I couldn't get cut anywhere else on the hairpiece where I didn't have any of those folds. You gotta be really careful with those folds with lace. If I pulled that, that would double in size, and that would be no hair at all on that spot. Okay, so this is ash, same color as I'm wearing now. Medium brown ash, medium dark brown ash, and this is medium dark brown poly, but the color should be different. Okay, so I'll try and squish it together so you can see it very close. All right, so that's the ash one, medium dark brown. I'd say that's a greener brown, and that's more of an orangey brown. Pretty close though, right? My natural hair color, I don't know if you can see that well, is that color, and the hairpiece is that color. So they're probably equidistant from my natural hair color, so it probably doesn't matter which one I pick out of those two. Why do I choose to get the wrong hair color? Because they come in a week. They come within a week. I order it online, boom, it arrives at my house. Custom order, try and match my natural hair color, which fluctuates, by the way, between summer and winter, depending on how much I've been outside. It would take forever. And would they do a good enough job to match that color exactly? I don't know. How good are their skills of mixing hair dyes together to get the exact color I want? I don't know. I've never actually tried to order my own custom hair color. I mean, they're probably good at it, but then the industry is pretty bad at its job. I mean, otherwise, why would they still be making these completely unbleached hair pieces? Like I say, I want poly at the front and I want lace where it connects to the perimeter. From my perspective, since I'm making my own partials, I would need every single one of them made exactly that shape for me. Because I don't want to be having poly just there and then it's lace all the way back here, because then I don't get that poly front on the back half, which is what I'm going to want to cut out. So, but for the rest of you, that should be the main thing you probably want to choose. If you're wearing a full topper, I would say you probably want thin skin, poly, at the front hairline, so it's easy. You just glue onto it, just falls down. You don't get any of this problem where it's too hard to fucking aim. Okay, now, I'm going to show you. I just bought this. I've never seen it before. But it was shining up at me from when I went to the shops to go shopping for the first time in ages, a couple of days ago. And I bought this Stronghold Natural Matte Finish. It smells like American Crew, which is pretty petroleum based. Not very breathable, but we'll see. A bit like clay, more than like paste. I can tell from how hard this is that I will need to dilute it. Very little hold, doesn't even push that back. And when I do push that back, you can clearly see the front edge of that lifting. Even over here, it's a waste of my time to try to figure out how to make lace do as I say. For any new hair wearers, I would say stick with poly. And the front hairline for you, if you're wearing a full topper, it'd be a lot easier. so far, from what I've just seen, how these hairs are just ignoring this stuff. This has basically no hold whatsoever. If I'd used this, Mark, probably still the greatest hair product of all time, that would have just gone exactly where I said. And from my perspective, that's a clear fail. Now for next time that I have to do a touch up on the front hairline, I don't want to have to deal with the tape marking method. But if you are going to use a tape marking method, it wouldn't hurt for you to spend $3 on some of this stuff. Micropore tape by 3M. You should have it. If you wear lace, you should wear it. I mean, you should have some. But I still say poly at the front hairline is far superior. You apply the glue directly to the poly, wait 15 minutes, and you push it down. Done. 100% accuracy every time. Right, spray tan. That's all I'm going to do. And then, after I've had a shower, that'll be far lighter. I knew I'd be tempted the moment I pick this thing up. If I do that, then now I want to do the rest of myself. It does make me get better reactions from people. All right, I'll do it. Just. I'm not going to do my whole body, just around here. Ready? I know, shut up. Trust me, it washes, mostly washes off. One thing that doesn't wash off very well are the ears. Just get that shit off your ears. Another very important thing I've realized is it's not that fucking hard to shave the back of your neck. And it's a place that you can become a little bit unsightly if you haven't got a proper shaved neck. Love baby wipes. That wouldn't have worked if it was just a tissue, right? You know that, right? That's wet. Okay. Now, shaving the back of your neck. It's an important thing you have to do once every 2 weeks. It's not as bad as sometimes I think it is, but it is bad. It's almost time to get a full topper, potentially. Now I don't really need to do this because I did it less than a week ago, but sure you don't have any spray tan on your hands here. If you're going to do that, by the way, this is called Tan Airbrush in a Can by Model Co. I love this stuff. It looks bad now, but after a shower, it'll be slightly browner than that, right? It's just, when it goes on, it's much darker. Yeah, okay, so the other thing is ears. Eyebrows. I just did my eyebrows. I don't want to be touching my face right now. Fingers are clean. Okay. So that's going to stay on my face now for about 8 hours probably. Probably go to bed with it. Once again, tiny writing. It says, shake your can, exfoliate your skin, shower 30 minutes before using it to get sweat off you. Ignored all that. Hold can 40 centimeters away from face, fine mist, allow 10 minutes to dry before dressing, and wait 4 hours before washing. 4 hours. Okay. But I'll probably leave it off. Probably has a warning after that saying don't leave it on for more than 5 hours, but I will. I'll leave it on all night. Make one of these microphone stand and shower mirror. Also, some advice that I still haven't taken, because it's harder than all of these steps that I keep showing you, is lose weight and don't be a fat ass. It would change everything. Like just like the way I stand, the way I feel, more energy. You're treated so much better if you're in shape. Like I say, if you're muscular and tanned, you're better looking than a fat, pasty guy with hair. That's all there is to it. People say, no, I've got a brother who picks up chicks all the time, he's bald. But I know he's tanned, and I know he's got muscles. He's a fucking Aryan. He's the sort of guy that Hitler used to jack off about all the time. So get in shape. Which doesn't mean a whole regiment of shit, though it probably does. I'm just thinking about what I want to eat, actually. I'm going to get off this phone to you right now. Put this at the end of the video, which is going to make me look like a gollywog, kind of, by the end of the video. Did you ever have a gollywog growing up? I had one growing up as a kid. I was called a little gollywog because I was born with lots of hair. Maybe I'm like Benjamin Button with hair. Anyway, everyone's like Benjamin Button with hair though. No one gets hairier. No one gets a fuller head of hair by the time they're an old man. Yeah, forget that reference. Anyway, gollywogs were all the rage, both for white and black kids. But now it's because it was based on sort of a blackface kind of thing, which is what I'm doing now. Holy shit, I'm being offensive right now, aren't I? Fuck off. Anyway, that's it. I'll look better next time. I won't walk down the street like this, don't worry. The other thing is, when your skin is darker, it's harder to see the problems with the front hairline. It blends better. Most of the reason I want to bleach this shit at the front is because I've got white skin and dark hair. If you've got dark skin and dark hair, it becomes less noticeable, the join. Now, after that dries, and I've washed it and everything, it'll give me a nice clean line between my nice tanned face and my very starkly white scalp. And it won't be this dark, I promise you. It'll be a faintish line, but it'll still be something that I can see, so that I can aim this brush and do that without having to do that. As you've seen, that's not completely 100% effective. even though it's probably the best method of getting a nice thick layer of glue, the same thickness as all the rest of the scalp that you put glue on, right up to the front hairline. Otherwise you're sort of using less and less glue near the front. And if it's too much glue at the front, anyway, the thing is, I might use this tape over the edge of the fake tan line as well, so that I can paint freely without having to aim the brush too much. That's probably the ultimate combination. Okay guys, I'm gonna jump in the shower just to show you again, this is how tanned I am with the spray tan. All right. Now, after I get out of the shower, you'll see I'll be close to that, but still better than that. Probably a quarter of this maybe. Okay, so I've had the shower. This is the final color of my skin. I can't be bothered reading that paragraph. I'm just gonna put some more in. Maybe it'll work better when it's damp. This is thinner than muck, less hold obviously. So I'd say it'd be a light hold, even though it says strong hold. Coming straight out of the shower, I get the feeling that it weakens the bond, especially at the front hairline. Sometimes that glue at the front can bloat as well, as the glue absorbs water. That was a pretty quick shower though, so it didn't really bloat that time. But still, I feel like at least the body heat and the warm water from the shower will have temporarily weakened it until I cool down. So I feel like it's an improvement now that I've used the spray tan, and it'll allow me to use the tan marking method. And like I said, I'll use that in conjunction with the tape marking method, using this tape, micropore from 3M. Okay, buy that if you wear lace. There's no marking required obviously if you wear poly. Poly, just you glue it onto the poly and just press it down. You've got to have the back secured before you do that part of it, so it lands exactly. All right. I feel better. So this is the air and finality for this video. It's been a 6-day video in the making. The Air by Lord Hair. I get the feeling that because they only bleached the very front inch of the hairpiece, that was this side, because this hair is prone to being brushed back. If it was genuinely the front of the hairpiece, it should be going forward, because that's the way I've switched it around, and I should have attached it the other way. I don't know what makes it happen, but once the hairpiece has been created in a certain direction from the factory, it's very hard to make it go the other way. I don't know what's making it go that way. I really can't think of, I don't understand the physics. It's like it's been ironed into position so it doesn't want to go that way ever again. And that's why this hair sort of wants to go back and stay there. Trying to make it go forward means it's going to flop against its natural desires and end up hanging like a fool's hair, really. It should be right up against and just come down like that. So bear that in mind if you're placing a partial that you've cut out of a stock piece, or any piece. Even if you've got a custom order of a rectangle and you've cut out a partial, you want to make sure those hairs want to hang forward. Unless you're so confident with the knots and you love a brush back look so much, there will be times when your hairline looks perfect. Generally that will be poly with a bleached peroxide front hairline, so it looks accurate. And in that situation, it might be okay to make it go back like that. The problem with brushing hair is it goes back like that, but then all this hair over here ends up sticking up like that. So what are you supposed to do? That bit sort of feels like it wants to be brushed forward. A lot of people tend to go sideways, like that. I've got too curly hair to pull that look off. So I really have to, my usual when it's long enough, I just go to the side curtains. That works well. Also hide front hairline to a large degree, but that bit must always be perfect right in the center. For television and so on, the makeup artist always brushes my hair, and I think they need to learn. There are people who have curly hair and brushing it does not work. Brushed hair doesn't suit a curly haired person. I just don't really see that many people with curly hair on television. Most people have straight hair on television. Have you ever noticed that? It seems that way to me. Don't see many curly haired people on TV. Alright, thanks for watching Air by Lord Hair. So, I think if I hadn't chopped it into partials, it would be a very good hairpiece. The manageability of the hair, the quality of the hair, and everything else is great. It's the lack of the bleach knots that pisses me off. And please don't come onto a forum like this and say, but they told you they're only bleaching the front part. I said, I don't care. They should bleach the whole base. If it's got knots are unsightly. As I've shown you, you can see through into the black dots all the way through, because this is such low density. Even if it wasn't, what does it hurt? Does it take them 100 years to painstakingly bleach every single hair along the front? And it would take a huge amount, exponentially longer, to bleach the entire underside of the hairpiece? No, it would be the same amount of effort practically. So just bleach all of the knots on every hairpiece forever and never sell anyone an unbleached knot again. That's my request, or maybe demand at this point. Thanks.